Welcome to A Pot of Wings and Filth, where two voracious fantasy readers dive into the magical, gritty, and sometimes downright filthy world of fantasy.
On this podcast, we discuss our favorite fantasy books, ranging from dragons and magic to the dark and twisted corners of fantastical realms.
Morgan and misaligned dust covers give me hives.
And I'm Heather, and love triangles gives me tremendous anxiety.
We've got a lot of opinions, a lot of passion, and even more books to talk about. So grab your favorite brew, maybe a magical artifact or two, and join us as we get into all things magic, wings, and a little bit of filth.
Content warning. Expect spice, swearing, spoilers, and strong opinions on dubious character choices. This is an adult show meant to discuss adult things unfiltered for an adult audience. Today's episode will contain spoilers for all of the Ashes in the Star-Cursed King and the Serpent in the Wings of Night, aka the Nightborn Duet. If you're not ready for unhinged fandom energy, turn back now. Otherwise, spread your wings, grow your horns, and let's get filthy.
Hell yeah.
Oh my goodness. These three sections, oh man.
Parts 3, 4, and 5 are jam-packed and loaded. It's going to be wild.
By the time I got to part 5, I had forgotten the order in which things happen. And I was like, wait a minute, isn't this the climax? It's jam-packed with Carissa's brilliant and beautiful storytelling.
God, Carissa.
So Morgan, would you like to give us your summary so everyone can hear what is in these sections?
In part 3, Crescent Moon, our chaotic crew heads to Lahore in search of Vincent's secrets and finds his last living relative, Evelina, who is technically Oraya's cousin and definitely a horror movie waiting to happen. Her decaying castle is crawling with turned vampire children and seething with generational trauma. As Oraya digs into Vincent's gruesome past, she discovers not just his cruelty, but a twisted sense of comfort in how thoroughly awful he truly was. A chaotic cliffside push from Raihn, revenge for the rooftop blast, fair, reveals Oraya has wings and a lot more vampire power than expected. Alone in the ruins, she uncovers a blood-soaked god tooth relic hidden in a grotesque winged carcass, because of course, and is promptly attacked by Evelina, who is ready to cosplay Queen of Night with the Taker of Hearts. Oraya wakes up imprisoned, wings nailed to a wall, and has to unleash every ounce of pain and power to kill her unhinged cousin before Raihn finds her barely conscious, but finally safe. Part 4, Half Moon, kicks off with Oraya and Misha trapped in a boring safe house while Raihn deals with a surprise rebellion. Rude. Cue another cute training montage with Misha and Katura, plus a side of tragic backstory. Tired of waiting, Oraya and Misha crash Raihn's interrogation party in Sivrinaj just in time for him to beg nobles for peace while barely keeping the kingdom duct taped together. A forced wedding celebration is thrown to butter up the sketchiest nobles alive, so naturally, Oraya sneaks off to do some solo vigilante brooding, only to find peace in the streets and Raihn in the bar, teaching her how to order a damn beer. Things get flirty, confessional, and almost sexy until duty calls, aka politics, and Raihn drops the bomb. If she helps him charm the nobles, she can have her freedom, no strings attached. At the wedding, Oraya rolls in with her air mark blazing and dances her way through political manipulation, only to realize it was all a trap. Drugged, betrayed, and nearly burned alive, Raihn's about to become vampire toast, until Oraya, radiant and raging, wields the Taker of Hearts like it's what she was born for and saves his royal ass. Part 5, Waxing Moon, opens mid-chaos, with Oraya dragging Raihn's crispy sunburnt body to safety, only to be rescued by the world's most observant, asleep front desk guy. Once Raihn's no longer medium rare, he gives her Vincent's personal effects, a necklace matching her ring, a sketch of her mother, and a letter signed Alana, Oraya's first real link to her past. And yep, cue the emotional tailspin. As if that weren't enough, Raihn casually throws in a full freedom plan, money, fake ID, the works, reminding us again that his green flag collection is extensive. She responds by getting mad, classic Oraya, refusing to leave, and finally jumping his bones. Bless. But the sexy reprieve ends fast. Misha's in danger, Septimus is still a problem, and they're promptly back in the castle via sewer slide, split up to recover the Godtooth pendant and their kidnapped crew. After Misha murders her own sire, surprise, it's the Shadowborn prince, and they free Keturah, Vale, and Lilith. The dream team regroups in the desert, makes some steamy hot spring memories, and charges back to battle, only to find Simon juiced up on Godblood and wielding Oraya's missing pendant. They fight valiantly, but when Oraya is critically wounded, Raihn calls retreat and heads straight for the only person who might help her on. I don't think I have ever read a twisted, demented side family member quite like I have ever read someone like Evelina.
Okay, first of all, if you watch T-Man, then you know who Evelyn is. And every time I read Evelina in my head, it was Evelina.
Evelina! That's funny.
I like her name, actually. It's really pretty.
Mhm.
To give her backstory, her entire family was slaughtered by, yes, Vincent. He is just as methodical and maniacal as we believed him to be. So much so that he killed his entire family. He even thought he killed Evelina.
Yeah. She has a scar of where he drove his sword through her and basically missed her tiny little heart.
Because she was so young. She was 5. So she was left in this house where everyone was dead. Her whole entire family. And she's a vampire, so she has the ability to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And then she turns into an adult vampire.
Yeah.
An adult vampire's body.
I was going to say, because I think that is a big piece of her twist, is that she basically has always remained that 5-year-old, grasping onto anything that could possibly make sense of the cruelty she has been forced to survive. Basically, her 5-year-old self said, he's going to come back for me. He didn't mean to kill me. He's going to come back for me.
She even wrote him letters that he did not respond to.
It's really heartbreaking.
Let me make this very, very clear. She is a monster, but she is a made monster.
Yeah. And you get to watch her made on page.
This whole entire section to me feels like an ode to Anne Rice. There are vampire children. They're all teenagers and they're all blonde. I think they're all made to look like Vincent. Yeah. I feel like young Vincents. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's intentional. And they are her brethren.
They are all turned.
So in the Anne Rice stories, in the first few books, when Lestat gets made, his maker has tried to make the perfect vampire a million times. So there are all these corpses of blonde, blue-eyed guys who are dead until he finally got to Lestat and was like, you are the one. Also, Lestat ends up making a child vampire. And we get to see why that's forbidden through Claudia. After, 60 years, she's a grown woman in her mind, but she's trapped in this child body.
I think that's true in this world, where the children who are turned when they are children stay children, which is why they're basically these like kind of rabid dogs. Like they are lapping at any little bit of blood. Literally lapping is the word that's described, like any blood that they can get, because they don't understand their hunger. How many children fucking died for there to be 30 children turned vampire servants in this castle? So Evelina grew up because she was already a vampire. These children do not.
Nope. And not only has she turned all of these children, she's insane. She's a crazy mother. So some of them seem to have some kind of feral loyalty to her.
Yeah.
And some of them, like Morgan said, are completely like disconnected.
There seems to be no rhyme or reason to any of it. I mean, you just get the feeling that Evelina is truly deranged. She acknowledges to Oraya, like, I hate you. And there's a moment, Oraya asks her to see Vincent's room. And she goes, oh, yeah, of course. And you get this, like, wide-eye, Luna Lovegood vibe, but, like, evil. And she walks her in, and Oraya's unsurprised to find virtually nothing, but everything is like perfectly pristine. It's the only part of the castle that has been maintained beautifully. Like there's not a speck of dust anywhere, but there's a perfectly made bed and everything has a place. And while Oraya is exploring it, Evelina is regaling her this tale of their family and how she assumed that Vincent was coming back for her and leads Oraya to believe, like, A, no one knew that you were actually his daughter, which is another reminder that no one knew. Oraya makes a comment basically along the lines of like, well, he must not have seen you as a threat to keep you alive. And Evelina goes, he didn't keep me alive. And she drops the straps of her dress. And there's this moment of like, oh, her tits are out.
Yeah, she's just naked. She's fully nude.
And she goes, no. He pulled me out from under a bed and ran me through with a sword. I have just come to believe that the mother, right, Nyaxia, the most benevolent of all goddesses, kept me alive for a reason. And you're like, oh, this is why people turn to faith when bad, scary things you just cannot make meaning out of.
Especially when you don't have the emotional maturity or you don't have the ability to do critical thinking.
Right.
You need a simple answer to explain all the bad things. And oh gosh, this whole entire sequence, it is so tense because Evelina's so unpredictable and she's still a vampire. And then she has all of her children.
But Misha and the Bloodborne and Septimus come to the castle, like come on the adventure with them. But in this moment where she's in Vincent's room, it's just her and Oraya, and Raihn ends up sweeping in and is like, oh, I'm going to take my wife to bed. And he's like, I thought she was going to eat you. And she goes, honestly, I didn't know if she wanted to fuck me or if she hated my guts. And that is how deeply twisted and deranged this woman is. You're like, she has no real grounding in reality. And that makes her, like you said, unpredictable, scary, and potentially hostile in a way that we kind of haven't seen before in this story. All the other violence we've seen tracks a narrative, vampires, bloodlust, duh. This is mind fuckery on a totally different level.
So we wonder how the heck are they going to neutralize this person? And Oraya was looking for this god weapon.
She's not even convinced that Vincent has done this. Everyone's still trying to convince her.
At this point in the story, she's finally starting to get really mad at Vincent. She's starting to go through the anger stage of grief because she's seeing the monster. She's not seeing her father anymore. She's seeing the cruelty. And it's also making her ask, why did he let me live? So they have to neutralize
the crazy lady.
And they figure the way to do that is getting her so drunk on blood that she will have to sleep it off for a couple of days.
So while she's asleep in her drunken stupor, Oraya goes to sneak out and Raihn is like, I'm coming with you. Classic. They wander over these ruins, right? The castle is in absolute terrible shape. The city itself is basically just like rocks strewn about and people scrounging for scraps. There are vampires who have like eaten demons, and she's like, that's disgusting. They wander up to the ruins of part of the castle, and it has this view out over the ocean. And Raihn flies her up, and they get this beautiful view of the sky. And they finally start to bridge a little bit their gap. And you can see Raihn has sort of this machination happening, and you're not quite sure where he's going. And they're standing on the top of this ruined building. And he's talking about how lit up she gets whenever he flies her. And she's like, yeah, I've never seen the world from there. And I don't remember exactly what he says, but he just launches her off the side of this cliff. And surprise, she has wings.
That's kind of how she found her magic, too. She had to be pushed.
Well, and we've been talking about these mirror moments that reflect each other. And this one was the heaviest handed one, but it also with a smirk.
Yeah, I think they even like discuss it in the book. Like, yeah, we're kind of even now.
She has these gorgeous, gorgeous wings.
Oh, they look like Vincent's. They're black and crimson. And I love picturing her with wings in my head.
Yeah, me too.
I love picturing her flying, which she can't do very well at first.
Well, right, like the whole like baby deer imagery, but in the sky. So she catches herself with her wings. She pumps them a couple of times, and then she falls and literally knocks herself unconscious.
She also has another Vincent moment here too, where she remembers wanting to fly and telling Vincent about this. And he's like, oh, no, you can't do this. And then the way that he says it, she realizes now that he knew.
Mm-hmm.
He knew that she had wings and could fly and didn't want her to, keeping her like a caged little pet. She starts coming to terms with who and what he was.
Right. Well, and you mentioned in our last deep dive episode that she is having big waves of emotion and waves of grief. This is that shift, like you were saying, into anger, the stage of anger with grief. She is pissed at how much he kept from her.
Yeah, and it called to her.
Mm.
And I think most of us in some way can connect with that. I mean, think about your childhood, your true self. How many of us have abandoned things that we loved and cared about and fulfilled us as children that we stopped doing as we grew up, either because somebody told us that it was stupid or silly, or because our parents said, stop wasting your time on that. But I think everybody has that experience to some degree of someone who's supposed to matter to you or be in power over you that has influenced you enough to let go of something that might even be a part that defines you.
The night of the ball in the Kajari, she asked, why didn't you take me flying more? Because she had just flown with Raihn for the first time and is obsessed with it. And he goes, I didn't want you thinking you could. And on the surface, you get this like concerned parent. But now knowing that he knew and she is his daughter, for sure she had wings, and he didn't want her to think she could.
He didn't want her to become more powerful than him. It was the same thing with the magic. And I think she says, I can't hate him in the way that I need to. And we talked about it in the last episode too, that conflict of loving your parent, but not just seeing them as your parent anymore, but as a person and more objectively, and how crippling that is for her.
Mm-hmm. It's brutal.
It's so, so tough.
So she's grappling with this grief. She has these brand new wings that she doesn't know what the fuck to do with. And she sends Raihn away. And immediately, even my hackles are raised. And I'm like, what are you doing?
This is a terrible place to do that. And Raihn, I love him. In most situations, that would have been the right choice. Here should have been one of the ones where he followed her, or
from afar.
From afar. Stayed somewhere close enough that if he heard her scream or something, he could come. Right. But no, he was the good guy here, and he did what she asked.
Because again, his green flags are everywhere, but this one kind of kicked everyone in the ass. So she's wandering around the ruins grieving Vincent, and she gets this inclination that she has seen this view before.
Because she's gotten some of his memories when she's touched the Taker of Hearts.
She's like, I've seen this place before, and I've for sure never been here. And so she's like, oh, there's another ruined building up there. I will fly. And she calls it like, graceful falling. And it made me think of fall, I'm not flying, you're falling with style.
Yes.
Toy Story. And she makes it over there. And this is where she's like, my spidey senses were right. And she finds these giant feathered Rishan wings stuck to the wall with this gross, like pulsing black heart. It's so grotesque.
I picture gothic, dark ruins. Even the sun isn't a sun. Like you can't see the sun. It's all just smog. It feels like death.
It does feel like death. There is just something so heavy about it in this like pervasive, oppressive way.
Yeah.
And so she sees these wings, this pulsing heart. She realizes the heart is pulsing to the time of her breath. It's her second occasion where she has the impulse that her blood might open this thing. So she slices her hand and she touches it, which I'm just immediately like, no, run away. The amount of pain she's in is horrific. She gets fed these memories of him because it sounds like you're sort of led to believe that with every piece of these horrific, disgusting god blood devices, he sacrifices a piece of himself.
Like a Horcrux.
It is exactly like a Horcrux. It really is. It doesn't necessarily have sentience, but it has a piece of him. So every time she swipes, she gets a memory. And this memory is of him murdering everyone in the castle.
She's never going to look at him the same again after this. My first read, I did not fully hate Vincent. I was feeling the conflict that she was feeling. Now it's actually more painful because now I feel like I'm watching it as a movie rather than standing next to her and experiencing it with her.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really great way of describing that. Yeah. And so when she gets these memories, you are consumed with them with her. And Evelina, the like ever disgusting puppet in the background, pops up and goes, do you know how long I've been trying to get into that? And knocks her unconscious and steals her away.
Which obviously was going to happen when Raihn left. We get a scene with Raihn going, I don't know where she is. Something's not right. And then the next thing you know, we wake up to Oraya being nailed to a wall. And so she is nailed to the wall and she has this psychopath who is ready to torture her.
Yeah. Has nailed her literal, fresh, brand new wings to the wall and is wearing the pendant with the god tooth and with a fabric around it, trying to wield the Taker of Hearts, Vincent's beautiful magical sword.
And the interesting thing too, I think Oraya sees part of herself in her. I think
little.
even in this moment, Oraya has some empathy for her.
Yeah, I think all of the times that she yelled at Vincent and said, that could have been me, and he goes, that could have never been you, you now know where he was coming from with that. But now she's actually witnessing, like, this could have been me.
Yep. She's trying to get the hell out. She's being very clever. She's talking to her. She's trying to buy time.
There's all the creepy little children turned vampires crawling around that are like lapping at her blood from the nail. It felt a little crucifixion to me.
I thought that was always the intention.
She basically convinces Evelina that she has transferred the power of the Taker of Hearts to Evelina, knowing that if she ever actually grabbed the hilt, she would be like burned, probably to death by grabbing it, because it's so massively magical and powerful. And in doing so, we get also Oraya's first deep dig into her air, her like actual Nightfire air power. And hooey, is that girl powerful?
Yes.
Holy shit.
I love this moment because she's fucking tired of this. She's tired of being a victim. She's tired of being weak around all these vampires. She's tired of getting pushed around. She's already been kicked out of her kingdom, and then she's added back as a prisoner. She's married as a prisoner. I mean, she was put in the Kajari to die by her father.
Even if she hadn't died, she would have come out bound to him. She would have been magically bound to him in a way that she could have never actually stepped into her full true power. Trapped no matter what. Damned if you do, damned if you don't.
And this is a physical representation of that. Except now she's not helpless. She has the fucking air mark. She has that power. She digs deep and she just explodes. Oh, I got goosebumps.
So the moment in the Kajari where Raihn is coaching her and it says the fear is the point. And so she has now learned that actually her magic responds best when she digs deep into that emotional well. But now her emotional well is darker and deeper and more brutal, and she has way more power, and these horrific traumas have happened to her that she has to touch in a way that she doesn't want to in order to access that magic. It's so poetic and beautiful.
And I think this is the first time in this book where she hears her own voice in her head again too. She saves herself. She doesn't need to be saved. She's like, nope, I can do this. And she comes out swinging. She bursts out of her locks and she gets out. And
she fights. And what's interesting is this is the first time she grabs the Taker of Hearts.
Yes.
And while it is very painful for her, she stabs Evelina directly through the scar that Vincent left all those years ago to murder her. And that
she is a warrior at her core. I think this is where she finally realizes that too. It's like Raihn. Raihn is not a political leader. He's really good at pretending and putting on the fake face. He's been doing it for long enough that he's a master at it. But Raihn knows exactly who he is. He is himself most completely when he is full of blood and gore and he's killing monsters.
Yeah.
And so is Oraya.
And so is Oraya. It's why they're perfect for each other. So I did appreciate you mentioned, like, she saves herself. Raihn comes and sweeps in after she has done that.
I love that he's there, but he's not the one who comes and gets her out of the chains. And that's why this part is so pivotal in their relationship too, because she's found her power. They're not quite equals yet, but they're on the path to being equals. Yeah. Which if she actually understood the relationship better, she'd understand that she's actually the one with all the power in the relationship. Raihn has no interest in having any of the power in the relationship.
He doesn't want it. He's madly in love with her.
He will worship at her feet all day long and love it. That's what he wants to do.
So he helps heal her wings. And then basically,
so
I loved that moment. We get this other little vulnerable moment in that where you realize just how little she knows about vampire wings, because why would she know? And she comments to him, she's like, are they, like, am I never going to fly again? Like, she thinks they're damaged enough. And he goes, what? I would die before you don't fly again. So we step into part 4. Raihn has had to sort of spirit off back to Sivrinaj because we have some rebellion happening. He gets the message from Vale, and he specifically tells Oraya and Misha and Keturah, one of his
generals,
inner circle person to stay in the safe house and to not come to Sivrinaj until he says so. So, of course, they don't do that. But while they are there, they get more cute training montages with Misha, which I love because finally Oraya does have control over her magic, but it is volatile again in a way that she doesn't know what to do with, which neither does Misha.
No, because she's struggling with the same thing. With Raihn, once they finally connected and acknowledged their love and affection for each other in the first book, Misha was already gone. So the only person she had, other than Vincent, for all this time, has been Raihn. Now she is developing relationships with other people. And
Misha's just a great fucking friend. We also get a smidge of Mish sharing her own backstory with Oraya. We get a little bit of she does not know who her sire is, the man who made her, who turned her. And we get a little bit of Raihn was the one that saved her.
Yes.
From her turning. And so we get finally that like last little jigsaw piece of her backstory that makes her relationship with Raihn make so much sense.
Yeah. That's why she's his sidekick. And she's a meddling little deviant is what she is.
Like a little sprite.
And usually I don't like characters like that. They drive me fucking crazy because I don't like meddlers myself. When people meddle with me, I'm like, I know, I will deal with it. Just let me deal with it on my terms.
I was raised to love a Yenta character, so a meddler, unfortunately, is totally my jam. But Misha is perfect. She's perfection.
You can call her on her meddling.
Yeah.
And she's totally aware.
I was going to say, she'll step into it. She'll be like, yeah, I know I was. What are you going to do about it?
Oraya calls her out. She's like, you know what? You're telling me that I don't talk to you about stuff, but you don't really talk about what you're going through right now either. That's how Misha ended up telling her some of her story.
I think the only thing that bugs me about Misha, of course, we find out more in her own book, is her seemingly kind of like blind commitment to her own sun god. But again,
that's in her story. And yes, I struggle with that too.
But it's hard to read, right? Yeah, stop fucking burning your own arms, my guy. So they crash back into Sivrinaj. Basically, Oraya convinces Misha and is like, we gotta go back. And basically, he's in the middle of trying to squash a like full-blown rebellion. Covered in blood, everyone else's blood, playing the part of the gruesome king. At first I was like, why wouldn't he bring them back? And I kind of got the sense he was trying to protect them from having to see him like that. Whenever he steps into the king role, he knows he's stepping into what he saw in Neculi.
Yeah.
And he is so disgusted by that, that he is disgusted in himself.
He doesn't want to be that around her. He wants to be himself. He is himself around her. He is never putting on a front with her. He is always fully and completely himself. Does he hold back sometimes? Absolutely. But he is still himself. And that's important when the only person that's mattered to her in her whole life lied to her and pretended to be something that he wasn't. So what comes next? Mr. Silver-Winged Veil.
And also we get our first glimpses of Lilith as her own intense character. And I love her. She's this cute little scientist, human-termed vampire. And she's like, if this is the thing we gotta do, this is the thing we gotta do. You can't protect me from it, grumpy old Veil. And he's like, okay, fine.
I love how he just submits to her, too. All the ladies in this story are intelligent. Every single one of them, even the ones that are not so good. Jasmine is also intelligent and badass. The women in the story are fantastic for that reason. And they're all very different. Every single.
What I love about reading female authored stories is that
these beautiful, strong women characters are not diminishing the men.
Not at all.
In order to make them this way. The men are not standing in their shadows. They are equals. And that's what drew me in the first place to these kinds of books, because I admit I was so judgmental about all of it. And now you've got me reading Elsie Silver. So I have jumped the shark about 20 times already.
Yeah, you have.
And now also Morgan is too. Yes. And it's wonderful. And I think that's a big part of it is you know, you don't have to sacrifice either the male or the female in the role and in the relationship in order for them both to be strong and work together. And the dynamics can always be different, but it still works. Like, Veil is not any lesser of a bad motherfucker because Lilith was like, listen, boo, no, that's not going to work. It's a okay, I understand you are making a better choice in this situation than I am. And vice versa. There are times when he's like, this is what we have to do. And she goes along with it.
Right.
That's give and take. That's trust.
Exactly. That's why when she stands up and says, is this what we have to do? Give me the truth of it. Is this what we have to do? And Raihn says yes. And Vale begrudgingly says yes. But Vale is like, but we don't have, like, if you don't want to, we don't have to. She goes, no, if that's what's needed, I get to make the choice. You don't get to make that for me. We had a quick little Raihn POV chapter right before the wedding where he walks Lilith to her room alone. And Vale is freaking out, but also
fair.
Everyone should be fine. But, like, you know, Vale's a little, like, hackles raised. And Raihn basically says, I want to know that this relationship is consensual.
Yeah, because he wants to save her. If it's not even about him or Vale. He's just trying to help her.
It makes you love Raihn that much more. It is on the tail of a few more of these interludes at the beginning of the parts that show us Raihn's turning story and living under Necula's thumb. And so he goes, I know that as a turned vampire, you often feel some sort of loyalty or allegiance or obligation to your sire, to the person who turned you. I want to know that if that is what's going on here, if this is not equal, I am in your corner. Like, I will help you. And she's horrified. And goes, what the fuck? No, I love him.
This is her first time being around other vampires. Where she's from, she speaks a totally different language, which I love that we find out that Raihn is from the same place as her.
Yeah.
Because they speak the same language.
Yeah.
And I love Raihn talking about, I've been all over the world. Well, yeah, he was a sailor. He did all this stuff. Also, don't forget, Raihn was also married and had children that he ended up having to leave behind. So the land that she was from is one of the human worlds that human countries on the other side of the ocean that Vale had set up his little place of retirement at. So she doesn't really understand. Like, it was crazy for Oraya to kind of jump into it. It's even crazier for Lilith. But she's like, no, I love him. He saved my life. I was going to die, and he saved me.
Yeah. I just love that little scene because it really, as the reader, of course, you are bought into Raihn. You're like, he has done everything and more to make up for the horrors at the end of Serpent. Oraya is not quite yet. She's getting there. She's on her way. But this is just one of those final nail in the coffin where you're like, oh yeah, no, he's a good guy. Capital G, good guy. Got it. Noted. He doesn't have to do that. He's the fucking king. He doesn't have to do any of that.
He doesn't want to be king, though.
No, he does not want to be king.
Talk about reluctant leaders.
Yeah, exactly. Both him and Oraya are pretty reluctant leaders, to be honest.
Yeah.
Which is odd. I feel like you don't normally get two.
No, but I think as the story goes on, she wants to step into that role a little bit more. She has more desire for it. And I think at the end, I'm pretty sure Oraya is going to be the one who's running things.
Fuck yeah, she is.
And for no reason other than Raihn doesn't want to have shit to do with shit. He'll go run the army, but he doesn't want to have anything to do with that bullshit. Right. No. And she would be great.
She'd be a great queen. They are very reluctant to it, which I think is made even more beautiful by the little solo vigilante jaunt she takes into the human districts. And so she finds out the streets are clear. There are no vampires killing humans.
She was like, I'm going to go kill. Yeah, there was nothing to kill. So what did she do? She went to the bar that they'd been in before, and she didn't know how to order a beer.
But she literally walks up to the bar, and the bartender is like, and she's like, beer? And then Raihn over her shoulder, who swoops in, goes, 2 beers, please.
Yep.
It's such a funny moment. It's those little comedic reprieves with them that make the intensity and the darkness of this world feel tolerable and manageable. So they sneak off to the apartment and they get their first almost sexy moment.
Yeah. It is sexy. It's just not sex.
And Oraya's holding herself back.
Big time. There definitely is big moments of vulnerability here between both of them. Raihn's trying to show her more of himself. I so love that he has this place in the human district. This is where he feels comfortable. This is where he feels safe. Oraya doesn't, because Oraya still is not that connected to her human side.
No. I mean, the irony is technically the place she feels the safest is in her room. Trapped.
Yep. That's how you groom someone right there.
Yep.
That's how you do it. You open the cage to let the bird out and it doesn't want to leave.
Exactly.
But Oraya goes outside of the cage.
She does go outside of the cage, and she does learn the outside of the cage. And I mean, we get to watch her learn a few moments at the wedding where Raihn sort of makes a comment like, my wife is no actress.
Yes. And I love that in his mind, he's 100% married to her. This is a real marriage for him. So they're in this bedroom in this tiny little space with a tiny little bed that Raihn is much too large for. And they're kind of scheming together. They're like, we got to get out of this. We got to get the Bloodborne out of here. We're going to have all these enemies at the castle for Vale's wedding.
Yes.
But then something happens between the two of them.
She bites his thumb.
Yep.
She tastes his blood.
Yep. And she doesn't ask either. She doesn't ask.
Like you said, it's sexy. It's not sex. Like the way the tension burns again through this story, it's so delicious.
Yes. And the chemistry has not gone anywhere between them at all. If anything, all of the fighting has just made it worse. But we already know that they're good in bed together.
Yeah.
They know it too. If you've already done the dirty deed and found out how good it was, my God, it's way more difficult to deal with close proximity. Wouldn't that release feel so good right now? It's really, really easy to talk yourself into that if it's not a good idea.
Yeah.
So bite his thumb instead and drink his blood.
Well, and this ends up being kind of a cool moment. It's sexy in this tension way, but it is also this like kind of big realization that like she is half vampire. She can consume blood. She doesn't need to survive, but she can, and she can enjoy it.
Well, she's discovering all of her vampire sides in this part of the book. She's opening herself up to it. And I love it when characters chase curiosity. It takes you in interesting directions you'd never go in before. It opens up whole new worlds for you, which is probably why a lot of people don't like curious people. Oraya, she's always been curious.
Well, and I think it's an interesting challenge that we recognize that Vincent had. Yes, he groomed her. Yes, he deceived her. He wanted her to be strong enough to win the Kajari. He wanted her to basically be his right hand. He just didn't want her to be an heir that could overpower him, right?
Yeah.
And so he did encourage a lot of curiosity in certain ways. He encouraged a lot of intelligence in certain ways. That's an impossible balance to strike. How do I create the person I want, mold the person I want out of this actual real person in front of me? Which you can never do.
You can't unless you suppress them entirely. And there's always going to be a part of them that's screaming to be free. And Oraya is too intelligent not to start asking questions.
So then we get the wedding.
I'm all about everything that Oraya did at this wedding. So Katora is teaching her how to dance, and it's going quite poorly. And then she also has a dress that is made for her, and it's described as so beautiful and sexy. And she has a top part that covers up
a
her
mantle,
air mark.
Right? A mantle that goes across her shoulders and chest.
And Oraya decides, fuck this shit.
Fuck your mantle.
I'm the heir. What the fuck are you going to do about it? She is starting to feel her power, and she is tired of being the fucking victim, and she wants everybody to know that she is someone to be reckoned with. And that's what she does when she blasts out in this sexy fucking dress with her
air mark blazing across her chest. I was like sitting there, especially in the reread, being like, fucking eat shit and die, vampires. She is so powerful. And I think you said it best, where she's actually tired of being the victim. She's ready to fight. This is her first real turnaround from that grief-stricken, holed up in her room, no fight left in her at all version of herself. She's back.
She is back. And this is a situation that she was never allowed to go in ever, because she would be devoured. They would kill her. Not only is she not scared, she starts shit with Simon. She's like, motherfucker, come at me, bro. You want to talk shit about my husband? I don't think so. She has zero fucks to give, and it's game over here. Right after Simon is talking to her, Raihn stomps across the room, and he's lost because he's in love with her. It's the first time he verbally claims that she is his, and he does not share.
That's true. That's true.
And Oraya does not correct him.
Nope.
And then he takes her on the dance floor. She's like, I can't do this. And he's like, yeah, you can.
Yeah, you can.
And I'm imagining the two of them doing the tango. I don't know what you were picturing, but it was the tango for me.
You had the idea that they are just swept up in each other and just like consumed in each other. No one else is in the room, which is such a beautiful moment for their romance rekindling, and also a very bad idea for their political maneuvering that they're trying to do.
It lasted exactly 2 minutes.
Only 30 seconds later, they sort of come to and are like, shit, we should stop doing this.
You're supposed to be my prisoner wife, and I just claimed you. And you're supposed to be afraid of everyone, and you're out there with your air mark on blast.
It's hilarious how bad it is, but it's so good. So we get this sort of like hint. Oraya immediately clocks that something is wrong. So he goes to walk away and stumbles a little bit.
Which Raihn doesn't stumble. Nobody's more sure-footed than that motherfucker.
The ballroom becomes really hot. There's a lot of sort of devolving into the more carnal desires of vampires happening in some of the corners of the room, which for all of that we get in a lot of these fantasy stories where there's like ballrooms full of orgies. We never really get any of the main characters participating in those orgies. And I wish we did more main character orgy participation. That's my
I agree.
platform.
I agree tenfold.
Right. Anyways, Raihn stumbles away. Oraya is concerned and then realizes she hasn't seen him in an hour.
Yeah. And the last time she saw him, he stumbled away, and Simon was being strange. And Karis, who I've disliked from the first time I ever met that MFer, she knows that something is wrong, deeply wrong. And Septimus approaches her.
Well, and Septimus pokes her, and she doesn't think anything of it at the moment. She's like, that's fucking odd. He never touches me that firmly. And he makes some snide comment. And he's like, I hated not being able to bet on you this time. And then he controls her blood and puts her to sleep. She comes to, fights her way out, realizes, shit, mayday, mayday, red alert, things are bad.
There's 2 bloodborne vampires that are dealing with her. One of them says, you can't hurt her. And she realizes immediately, oh, that's right. They need my blood for all of Vincent's shit. And that's when she comes out fucking fighting. And she gets Taker of Hearts back. And this time she really feels the power of it. And she understands power comes with a cost. And in this case, it's pain and it's supposed to hurt.
I love it. It is such a cool moment when she picks up that sword and realizes that the pain is emotional pain again. Right? It's the press of his magic up against her emotional wounds. It is not physical. Like, it's sort of manifesting as physical pain, but it is not. She's not being burned. And she goes, oh, I have to step into this in order to take control of it. And it's amazing.
Yep. This is when Oraya goes full Oraya. She kills these 2.
And a bunch of others.
This is probably one of my favorite parts in all of the Crowns of Nyexia series. She finds Raihn, and what have they done to him? They've done pretty much the same thing that I'm going to call her Evelina to her. His wings are nailed, and they have him set up so that he may be burned by the sun in the morning.
His beautiful sun that he loves so much.
Yep. And that sends Oraya. It fully fucking sends her. And then not only does she embrace the power of the sword, she embraces her own power, really fully feels that air power. Then she feels bloodlust for the first time. And she fully embraces it. This is the first time where there's no restraints. None. She just lets herself go, which is what Raihn has been doing for a long time and knew that she had within her. She kills dozens of these guys.
I was going to say, she cuts through, and the Bloodborne are, you're led to believe the Bloodborne are so vicious, and that's who's guarding him, right? This is a coup that Septimus has created. So it's the Bloodborne are stepping into power through Simon, sort of. So she cuts through dozens of Bloodborne soldiers guarding Raihn. And all of a sudden he goes, that was a hell of an entrance, princess.
I love him. And he's like on death's door.
Truly, he's being actively burned right now. The sun is approaching.
So she gets him down and they have to escape, but she can't carry him. Raihn's like massive. She's powerful and strong, but she also is finally, now that the adrenaline's gone and the bloodlust is gone, she's realizing, shit, I'm injured too. And the worst part is the sun is coming up. So where are they going to go? She hears more guards are coming. They take off.
She basically like launches him off the side of this balcony, and I get this. The image of this for me is them just like again like falling with
Careening?
style, yeah, like down into the human districts, and she's just like flapping away, trying to make it as far as she can, and she can only do so much. So we start part 5 with picking up right there. They are hobbling their way through the human districts, trying to get to that apartment to get him out of the fucking sun. And they basically collapse like half a block from it. And the human who is the front desk guy at this apartment,
Who's sleeping every time
seems
in.
to be sleeping.
Yeah.
Conveniently sleeping. She's like seconds away from calling for help. And Rain's like, no, I can make it. But he's collapsing. He's not going to make it. And the front desk guy comes out and she's like completely frozen. Do I reach for my sword? Are you going to rat us out? Are you going to help us? And he goes, no, I'm here to help. Please don't think that we haven't noticed, referring to the other humans. Please don't think we haven't noticed how peaceful it's been around here. Helps them inside and then locks the front door on his way out and basically says like, I didn't see anything.
Yep, don't know nothing. He's
Which
a
is
sleeping man.
The first little indicator that the humans have been this tiny little side piece in this story. But you get an idea that actually, I mean, they are a people. They are a part of this community, even if they are the lowest on the totem pole. And so this is the first indicator we get that maybe in the future, and we do find out in the future, that they might show up to protect their kingdom too.
Yes, because we still don't know how they got there, why they're there, what the circumstances were that brought them there. The point is they are, and they don't seem to have the ability, like many people in poverty and in situations with oppressive governments or countries, where they can't leave. They have really no choice but to try and exist where they're at. And that's what this feels like to me and has felt like. So they've all just done the best they can to live the best life that they can in their circumstances. And now they have someone who's actually made change for good, which also shows that, yes, the little things do have impact and matter. And in this case, it saves Raihn. The second that they're upstairs and he's out of the sun,
he's fine.
He's pretty much fine. He's joking again. He collapses on the bed and Oraya's like panicking still though.
She thinks he's literally dying.
Yeah.
He takes maybe 2 deep breaths and then stands back up, wanders across the room, and she's like, what are you doing? And he's like, I'm just going to go get something out of the desk. Chill out. And she's like, I don't know. You seem really injured.
And she is too.
She is too. She's coming to realize just how injured she is. And he goes, no. It was just the sun. Like, I am injured, but I will be okay now that I'm out of the sun. I will heal, right? Vampire healing. And he pulls out of the desk. I think this is maybe one of the most romantic things ever, right?
This is what makes him in my top forever.
Absolutely.
Forever.
This is what makes Raihn the fucking goat of book boyfriends, truly. He had collected a bunch of Vincent's personal effects that clearly had to do with Oraya. So every time the shift of power happens in the Nightborn castle, you are led to believe that whatever the faction is that's being kicked out, all of their heirlooms and things are just destroyed. Raihn made a point when he took over to collect those things and keep them for Oraya.
This is hours and hours of reading through stuff, going through papers, and she even says as much. Meanwhile, he's trying to deal with rebellions, running a kingdom, and all of the other crazy shit that's going on, which tells us what matters most to Raihn and always has. All signs point to her, and her needs come first before everything else, including the stupid kingdom.
So she has always worn a ring with a black stone. That's all she has ever been told about her mother, ever. Raihn gives her a matching necklace, a sketch and a drawing that Vincent made of her mother, and she collects it immediately because she looks just like her, and a letter that her mother wrote to Vincent.
So she finds out her mother's name.
Lana.
And she finds out that she was maybe a sorceress too, from the sounds of it. She had magic or power. She was human. She was a sorceress, so she was powerful. Did he use her? What are the circumstances here?
Right. This is Oraya's first glimpse of anything actually real and tangible that gives her any inclination that her mother was a real person. She loses her shit and they collide in the sexiest way.
Oh my gosh, it is
Good.
It's so good from start to finish. And whereas we get one little chapter, and it's a good chapter in Serpent.
We get
We
three.
get three.
We get 3 chapters in Ashes of straight sex. And it is beautiful. It is nuanced. It is a roller coaster. We have highs, we have lows. We get Oraya drinking his blood, not just a little bite on the thumb, actually drinking his blood from his neck during it's beautiful.
He took a knife to his own neck, and it mirrors that moment in the cave.
Yes.
When he drank her blood. I don't know why drinking blood is sexy. But my God,
I don't
so
know.
sexy. It's got to be some primal thing.
I think it is. I mean, I think this is a curious question. Like, what is it about vampires and drinking each other's blood that becomes such a sexy thing in these romantasy stories with vampires? And I think it's the vulnerability of it, right? Like, you are literally at my neck. I'm putting myself in the most vulnerable position. You are drinking my life force, basically.
You see that with the Fae in Throne of Glass, too. When Aelin gives her neck to Rowan and he marks her. I love it so much. But, I mean, like, he takes a knife to his own neck.
He makes a joke in that moment. This one doesn't have poison in it, right? Talking about the blade.
Fucking love him. Okay, so I think the exchange of the blood, too, is they're becoming a part of each other, especially if you have 2 vampires that are drinking each other's blood. Mm-hmm. I mean, if you're exchanging back and forth, I don't know what the exchange rate is, but it's a lot. At some point, it could be.
I know.
I've read a few, and I've seen a few. I started watching the show Being Human not too long ago, and that is some crazy shit. First of all, the vampires, when they're drinking each other's blood, they are covered head to toe in blood. I was not expecting that from a WB show. Okay,
that's kind of gross.
It is borderline hot and gross at the same time, but they're covered and they're just sitting there like feeding on each other. Like, and that's not what's happening here. And Oraya, this is where Oraya becomes my queen for life. She makes him beg.
Yeah, she does.
For every inch he takes, he has to beg. And I don't mean on his knees, but he just asks for exactly what he wants. And then he says, please, every time. And she won't give it to him until he says, please. I'm getting a little hot in here just thinking about it.
Obscenely sexy.
It so is. And he calls her princess a couple times and she's like, no. And then it's my queen. And from here on out, when he calls her princess, she corrects him.
Yes. Well, and I think that is the making him beg is her actually stepping kind of into her actual royal power, right? I am the leader. It is through this empowering sex that he is encouraging loudly and happily and more than willing to oblige. Oh my God, anything for you, my queen. And she is starting to realize, like, I do want to be queen.
Both of them, too, have experienced non-consensual sex.
They have power exchange.
Yep. And one of the things Raihn says is he's never let another vampire
drink his blood
once he had his own autonomy to do so. There's no indication of how much sex he had, but I'm pretty sure Raihn probably had lots of sex. Yes.
He had to get really good for her. That's fine.
Yeah, that's fine. You live centuries. I'm not going to go down the road and be like, you've had sex with too many people. There's so much vulnerability for both of them. But Oraya being in charge of the direction that it's going in, that is such a big step for her. And him relinquishing that by going, look, I've been telling you since I met you that you're safe with me. And now he's not telling her. He's showing her. Yeah.
I guess there's a little bit of a mirror, right? In Serpent, it's the night before the final trial. We might die tomorrow. This is sort of flipped, inverted. We have already almost died, and now we realize we can't live another day without each other again, which I love when that happens in stories. I think it is such a satisfying way to come back to each other, to express that gratitude and that connection. I love it so much.
Carissa does not write thoroughly explicit sex usually.
No.
And when her romantic scenes happen, they are incredibly purposeful. We talk about this with violence all the time. And I'm going to talk about it now because this cannot be called smut.
No.
When there's purpose and intention behind it, it's meaningful. It's part of telling the story. There's impact. The reason that we are entertained and enjoy it is because they've earned that moment. Just like we enjoyed the shit out of Oraya murdering all of those dudes who were stringing up our man. Like, that's not something that just out of the gate we're going to be like, oh, yay, she's a murderess. Half-human vampire. And she earned that moment for us to be there cheering for her. It has intention. It has purpose. It serves a story. Also, sex is natural. It is something that happens between couples. It's fine if you're going to do a scene and you fade out at these moments. I'm not mad about it, but you're not going to get the same emotional impact of connection that you get from a scene like this.
Because Carissa is so intentional with the way she puts her actual explicit sex on the page, I think it feels well earned.
Agreed.
There's no part of it that feels gratuitous or extra or extravagant in any way. And so I think it makes it feel more satisfying, more connected, more grounded, and you are more able to take it in. I just really love it. I love it so much.
It's about finally getting to this point where they can be free with each other. They don't have to say, oh, this was just a fleeting moment because we thought we were going to die the next day. Or no, this was just us hopped up on emotions because we just got to this big fight and we're feeling it. This is what they already felt for each other. This is his wife. He meant his vows. He meant every single word of them.
And he is literally showing that, not even just with the sex, with these gifts, with this intentional expression of love, with his willingness and eagerness to beg for what he wants, to meet her exactly where she is.
Yep. It is why she finally lets go of all those constraints. One of the other things that he did that we forgot to mention, because he gave her an ID so she could leave. He was going to set her free. And once she realized that, it was game over. You were going to free me? That was it. He did not marry her because he just wanted to marry her and loved her. He did it to save her because he didn't know any other way to do it. Rain's choices may not be great, but he made the best choices that he could. Meanwhile, she's still going through the grieving process of her father that was killed by the man she loves.
Well, I don't even think we're 6 months from Vincent's death and the Kajari.
I think they say at some point that from the start of the Kajari to this date, it's been about a year's time. So that tracks.
She gets mad at him in the most classic, I don't want to feel my feelings way. She says, you think I would leave just when things were getting interesting?
My girl. That's my girl.
It's so fucking funny. The snark is so perfectly timed. So the next couple of things that happened are fucking crazy. So they have to break back into the castle, which is an unheard crazy thing, to rescue Mish and to get that god tooth. They're like, well, we probably shouldn't let the bad guy keep that. And in doing so, Oraya realizes the only real entrance into the castle they can use is the one singular one that Vincent taught her to escape with. That's disgusting. Through the sewers. They literally swim through shit. Through the poop.
And the shit stinks. Like, I can only imagine. You know, it's so many times in these stories we go through some gross stuff, but this is top tier, about as gross as it can get. I can smell it right now in my head, and it's making me sick to my stomach.
And it's kind of a hilarious cold shower dousing of these incredible 3 chapters of beautiful, heart-wrenching sex scenes. We immediately dive into a river of shit. So we break into the castle through the shit sewers, and they split up. And Oraya has this sense that something's going to go wrong. Yep. So she goes up to her room to go get the pendant, which I just have to admit, there was no way that was going to be there. That felt like kind of a dumb moment.
It was a little too convenient. Maybe it wasn't dumb for her to look, but it was dumb for her to leave it unattended. She should have had it on her person at all times.
She gets up there and her room is locked. There's 2 guards. Easy to get through the guards. And she gets in there and she's immediately attacked by a chair, and it turns out it's Misha. And so again, Spidey senses are flaring.
Like, why is she locked in her rooms and not in the dungeons with everyone else?
So they let Misha out. She's like, I'm pretty sure I was kept up here as some sort of gift. She knows, but she hasn't said it out loud yet. And they're like, okay, well, we gotta go link up with Raihn then, because clearly the pendant is not here. Fuck. As they're going down, who turns the corner but the Shadowborn prince? And this moment is devastating. we find out that he is the vampire that turned
Yeah.
Misha.
He comes off as cocky to her at first. And our lovely Misha, who is bubbly and sweet and optimistic, turns fucking feral. And she jumps on him and just mauls him.
Immediately to death.
Araya doesn't even have time to do anything. She's standing there going, what the ever-loving fuck?
And Misha's like, we'll talk about it later.
Oraya puts 2 and 2 together because they had just had that conversation recently about her maker. So you have an idea, but holy shit. So they rush back to the dungeon where Raihn is fighting like 12 dudes.
And he's still kind of injured from before. And Oraya comes in and slashes everyone to bits with the Taker of Hearts. And Raihn scoops her up. And she's like, what are you doing? We smell like literal shit. So in the dungeons, we have Vale, Lilith, and Keturah.
Yeah.
So this is the official confirmation that Karis was the traitor, which sucks because we learn along the way through these interludes that he's really one of the people that helped Raihn when he was a turned slave under King Neculai.
Yeah.
He's one of the former slaves that basically helped Raihn stay sane through all of those years. So this betrayal is so deep.
As much as I don't like Karis, when he's walking away with him, because he's the one who drugged him, Karis says, I'm sorry, I can't go through the same shit again. So he thinks the Bloodborne are going to take over and it's going to be them being oppressed and slaves again. Right. Once again, we have a villain or a betrayer that I understand. It doesn't mean I don't hate him. I still do. But it does make me go, I get it. I love the complexity of doing the right thing for the wrong reason or doing the wrong thing for the right reasons. And I also love the scene because Keturah comes out and she's pissed off and she's cursing. She's great. But we also get to see Vale and Lilith together. And this is when Raihn realizes they love each other.
And that Vale is actually
loyal.
Loyal and committed to Raihn as king. I love it a lot. I think that's a really beautiful moment.
They're all really powerful beings, all 6 of them, the Hiaj and the Rashan, and they're all working together. And they're like, what are we going to do? Where can we go from here? Oraya's like, I have an idea. You're not going to like it. And they don't, but they don't really have any other choices. So when they end up at the cave, they're at a cave, they've been traveling and they're still smelling the poo-poo.
Yeah, for weeks. It takes them basically 2 weeks to fly to where Jasmine is hiding the remainder of the Hiaj warriors. Because Oraya still had the mirror. And so she communicates with her and she lets her know. And it's brutal. You're like, to imagine that they've basically been like caked and sunbaked in the shit for 2 weeks.
Whenever they make characters smelly or stinky in books, I do not forget about it until they take a bath.
Absolutely not. It's why I hate sex scenes after long travels when they have not bathed, which is what makes, now we're at the steamy hot springs, right? We're under the desert. There are these beautiful hot springs and finally they get to bathe and they have sex in the hot springs. And I'm like, that is why that is such a sexy scene, because you know the amount of relief they're feeling and they get to come together in that. And it's gorgeous and clean.
Yeah. So I'm with Morgan on this. So they get there and Jasmine is, I admit the first time I read it, I'm like, she's going to betray her. If she was going to, it would be here. They're vulnerable. They're full of the poo-poo. She also has brought enemies, the Rashan King and Vale. Nobody's happy about it. Nobody loves each other here other than Raihn and Oraya. I'm here for you, Highness. I'm loyal. This is my thing. And then at some point, her and Oraya have a really, really beautiful conversation.
I do. I really like it because it is, Jasmine is painted through Oraya's eyes in Serpent as blindly loyal to Vincent. There was indications that maybe they had a sexual relationship. I think the way I had envisioned it in my mind, sort of as a jealous stepchild.
Yeah.
Of like, oh, you took my dad away. That's not true. That's not what happened. But I think that's a little how Oraya has seen it. Jasmine is beautiful. She was conniving. She was very strong. She was the strong general figure that Vincent trusted. And so Oraya is kind of hoping like, hey, we've been on this god blood, god tooth adventure. Do you know if this was real? And she goes, sounds like something he would do. But no, he didn't trust anyone. enough to know that.
She tells her, he kept me at arm's length too. And actually, I was jealous of you and the way he treated you. And I wanted that too. And she's like, she fully admitted that she wanted more from him. But
Yeah.
a man like Vincent doesn't love because it's vulnerability. It's beautiful because it's both of them finding that they have this common ground together.
Right.
And they also both experience the same thing with Vincent at this point. Everything they've tried to do has gone to shit, but this is a big win.
Mhm.
And I love that it's two women that should be at odds with each other. And in so many of these stories, they would definitely pit these two against each other.
Only if it was written by a man.
But that's not the case here. Is look what happens when you sit down and you have a conversation and you're willing to put your shit aside for the greater good.
For the greater good. We also get this really beautiful moment where basically Raihn and Oraya have to proclaim their capital A alliance now. The Rishon and the Hiaj are working together. The Bloodborne have our castle and our kingdom, and Jasmine and Vale and Keturah and Misha and everyone standing around goes, wait, are y'all for real? And they go, yeah, that's my kingdom too.
And that's when Oraya declares that she is going to be queen at the end of this. She's like, I'm going to be standing by his side. It's my kingdom too, without discussing this with Raihn at all.
And so you get this actually quite beautiful, tentative, but beautiful truce between Vale and Jasmine, these huge generals that have been at odds with each other seemingly for hundreds of years, coming together.
What would the Nightborn house be if they were working together? That idea is freaking powerful.
It's powerful. It is truly novel to them. This is not a thing that has happened before. Nyaxia likes her children to be squabbling.
They all are smart enough to realize, yeah, this is the way.
This is what's best. Yeah. So this moment in the desert and in these caves is unfortunately very short-lived. They fly back to Sivrinaj. Vale and Jasmine have hobbled a army the best they can. The Rishon are going to meet them along the way. They arrive in Sivrinaj and realize that A, everyone was waiting for them, and B, the army that they have collected is loyal to them. And that's cool. I loved that moment where there's all these big power plays, these big political maneuverings. But what's happening with the people of this world? Are they down with this?
They've been caught in the middle of it. And civilians are the ones who suffer most from war. Like Morgan said, they anticipated that they were coming. You're supposed to feel defeated because you've just finally felt all this hope with Raihn and Oraya and their merry gang and their army that's coming. Even though, they're the underdogs, typically too. Our brains tell us we watch these stories all the time. So the underdogs win. This is the part where they win. This is the part when the story should be over. They're going to go get the big bad guys. You're looking at hundreds of pages still left. So
no way this goes well.
And then we find Simon, who has put the god teeth, and I'm picturing it like the teeth almost alive with the flesh.
Yeah, I mean, it's like pulsing and pulsating, and Oraya and Raihn feel the magical power of it from afar. Yeah. You also, and this is an odd one, because you're not ever really supposed to feel sorry for Simon, but he's not in there. He's a drone, and you can just tell that, like, this was Septimus's doing.
All of it is. He doesn't get his hands dirty. He makes everyone else get their hands dirty.
I've never once seen him on the battlefield,
No, even while this is going on, he's smoking a fucking cigarello. I shit you not. He's in the fucking background smoking.
Oraya and Raihn pull out their "we are going to die if we don't make this happen" fighting skills, and it's not enough.
And they both realize it too. Raihn starts yelling at Vale to tell everybody to retreat.
So as he's telling everyone to retreat, Oraya steps in to battle it out with Simon. And it's another mirror moment. She gets launched off of the same balcony that she saved Raihn's life off of. We end this part with her basically on the brink of death. Raihn takes her the only place he can possibly think to take her. Her mother had written that letter to her sister in a city that was listed on that letter. And Raihn takes her to her aunt.
And that is literally where this section leaves off.
Flipping a little bit the pages from the intense emotional devastation, what are your top 3 favorite fantasy romance book tropes?
I tried really hard to be concise, but I thankfully do know what my true favorites are. Number 3, forced proximity. All day long, because it's also most realistic. Like that, those are the things that can actually happens. Two, I fucking love a slow burn. Give it to me slow. I appreciate that payoff. If you make me wait 2 books, just make sure it's good. I appreciate it that much more because then I feel like it's really been earned. And my number 1 is Touch Her and Die.
Yes.
Nothing touches it. Touch Her and Die. That's how I get my panty flag waving.
I will say ours are very similar.
I'm not surprised.
Right. So, number 3 for me, enemies to lovers. I just fucking love it. Now, I see it coming a mile away, but if you make them really good, true enemies, that makes the outcome feel like you earned it. It's so good. So delicious. Number 2, Chosen One.
Yeah.
I love Chosen One stuff. Give me fates. Give me prophecies. I love it so much. It's so good. And then, of course, number 1 is Slow Burn. And honestly, I think all of these are the same. Like, they just all go together. Give me an enemies to lovers, Chosen One, Slow Burn, and I'm a happy fucking gal, okay? I can appreciate a romance story that we get to the sex really soon and then we earn each other's love with time. But the slow burn to me feels realistic, I think.
Yes. Yes, I think that's part of it too. I also like writing a slow burn more than anything. I torture myself.
That's so funny. What are your honorable mentions?
Enemies to lovers,
Okay.
obviously.
Yeah.
A Fated Mates. Fucking love Fated Mates.
You love a Fated Mate.
So much. The Dream or Psychic Connection.
You love that.
Oh my God, it is so.
If anyone has not read any of Heather's books, I suggest you pick them up. You do a beautiful amnesia dream situation. Oh, it's so good. The Psychic Connection.
Cute. I just love it. All right. And I love the Reluctant Protector. And one of my favorites is He Falls First.
Yeah. I mean, that's what we're talking about here with Raihn and Oraya. He fell way before she did.
Oh, yeah. He fell from the moment he saw her. Yeah.
I forgot about He Fell First. That's a good one. That is a good one. I only have 2 honorable mentions. Number 1 is Forced Proximity. Like you said, it feels realistic. It's just good. It just doesn't make that top 3 list. And then my favorite, and I've already talked about it on the deep dives before in Serpent, is that like magical sexual tension. Like there's poison or some sort of magic or like venom, and they have to fight off. Basically, the male MMC has to fight off her advances. I don't know what it is about that microtrope, but I think I just love the idea of a man actually controlling himself for once.
Okay, so I'm curious though. Is there any that you absolutely hate that's like nails on a chalkboard for you?
I mean, other than the pregnancy and miscommunication tropes.
Miscommunication is like, God, it's the worst. Well, and withholding information.
Yes.
I will put a book down and start another book if you do that for too long.
Right. You can do it for a period of time, right?
Or at least let the character go, no, I can't tell you this yet.
Yeah, those are probably my worst. I think the pregnancy and miscommunication.
I fucking hate pregnancy. God damn
I hate
it.
the pregnancy trope. Again, I think we talked about this a very long time ago, but I'll bring it up here. Pregnancy does not belong in my escapism. For some people, that is your jam. You want to see a beautiful fantasy magical pregnancy. By all means, fucking go for it. I love that for you. It's not for me.
No.
I think a book is ruined when we have gone through all of this hero's journey or heroine's journey, typically. And then at the end, we get either a flash forward or an epilogue that takes us a few years or a few months into the happily ever after. And she looks down and there's a pregnancy bump. I hate it. You have ruined the story for me. She did not need that as a childless millennial woman myself. She did not need that to be happy.
Nope.
Get out of here with your fucking misogyny. Nope. I hate it.
And I'm over here with 3 children, 100% agreeing with you. I don't want to read any of those stories. I love my kids. They're my favorite thing in the whole fucking world. Wish so much when I was a kid that I had more stories with women where they didn't have the happy ending is to get married. I want women to be able to see themselves in these stories and go, I have a choice. It's not an expectation. It's not what I should want or need. It's a choice. That's real feminism, is having the choice to pick what you want. So yeah, but it's also escapism. So no, I have enough responsibilities all day long. Let me come in this story and see the women who are fighting the battles that I want to fight rather than the mundane ones that I have to day to day.
Exactly. Yeah. It just doesn't feel like I'm escaping reality if you bring that shit in. It feels too close to reality in a bad way.
And having a baby isn't a happy ending anyway. It is
No,
a
it's
beginning and it's work.
of a very long journey.
Yes. All right, Morgan, on that note, why don't you tell everybody what you're reading right now?
I am, at your recommendation, picking up the first of the Gold Rush Ranch book by Elsie Silver, or books. It's called Off to the Races. I am super excited. I loved all these cowboy romances. We're about to go on vacation. I need something to devour, and you know I'm going to rip through all of those the whole time we're in Mexico.
I'm so excited because these are very, very horse-centric. This last one had me in tears over the horse stuff. I love the couple too, but the one you're about to read, Billy, is one of my favorites. I love her like I love Billy the way I love Willa. She's the Willa of this one.
So good. I loved Willa. Okay, what are you reading next?
I am finally starting Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the second book in the same universe. Phantasma was delightful. Enchantra is the sister going to a deadly game, I think overseas or something, but she has her own story to tell. And I loved the writing. It actually reminded me a lot of Anne Rice's style in Phantasma. It was it's beautiful writing. It really is just gorgeous writing. And there's darkness and it's just so broody too, which I love.
And the magic in Phantasma was really interesting. So I'll be really curious to see how they make that happen in Enchantra in a unique way.
Yeah.
We will be back with our next episode, which is going to be our buddy read of Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry. Please remember, we crowdsource our buddy reads, so keep an eye on our socials for the polls and vote for what you would like to read along with us next.
And that's been our show. Stay filthy. Thank you for listening to A Pod of Wings and Filth. This show is hosted, produced, and magically edited by Heather Baxendale and Morgan DeRocher. The music used is Magistar by Kevin MacLeod at Incompetech.com. See our show notes for important links. You can also find our podcast on all streaming services and at wingsoffilth.podomatic.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube at A Pod of Wings and Filth. Please give us a follow and give us a rating. It really, really does help and it matters. We really appreciate everybody who's been tuning in. Thank you so much.